Get ready, Padres fans. This is the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Yeah, Machado laces it in the air to deep left. This one, gonna go!
Coming up, we'll recap the last Padres game, preview today's starting pitching matchup, give you our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today, the Padres take on the Texas Rangers in the first game, or rather the final game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Rangers, right-hander Nathan Eovaldi, and for the Padres, an opener, left-hander Wandy Peralta. Hi again, everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside our San Diego studios. First pitch is coming up at 11:35 a.m. here on the West Coast. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. You'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. You'll hear from Will Wagner. We'll check in with Jesse Agler in just a little bit, and much, much more. And as always, a happy Father's Day on this Sunday to all the dads out there. A happy Father's Day to my dad, Jeffrey, tuned in this morning from New York. First, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres are 39-36. This is the final day of their 9-game road trip to Baltimore, St. Louis, and Texas. Padres are 4-4 on the trip, so an opportunity to still make it a winning road trip here today. Padres returning home tomorrow for the start of a 6-game homestand against the Braves and Dodgers. Rangers, meanwhile, are 36-40. They've lost 6 of their last 8 games. Padres will use an opener today ahead of Lucas Giolito. Wandy Peralta making the start. Giolito will take bulk innings in relief. Before we fully turn the page to today's series finale in Arlington, we had quite the ball game yesterday at Globe Life Field. Let's rewind it.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, early in yesterday's game, Manny Machado put the Padres ahead in the third.
Well, 1-0 pitch, and Manny laces one out to right center field. Langford on the move, reaches out, can't make the catch. Kicks off his glove, rolls to the base of the wall. Machado chugging for second in standing as Fernando comes in to score the first run of the day. Padres ahead 1-0 here in the third.
Walker Buehler was great through 5 scoreless innings. In the bottom of the 6th inning, he gave up back-to-back doubles. Rangers tied it at 1-1. It was still tied going to the bottom half of the 7th. Jason Adam came on. Jared Kelnick hit a leadoff single. Jake Berger was next for Texas.
2-2 in the air, deep to right center field. Jackson Merrill is back. He is at the wall. It's going to go into the Ranger bullpen in right center field, and Jake Berger has added to his home run lead on the Ranger roster. A 2-run shot in the 7th inning, and they lead for the first time today. It's 3-1.
Padres trailed 3-1 going to the 8th inning. Cole Winn entered for Texas. Padres rallied. Fernando Tatis Jr. doubled to start the inning. Samad Taylor reached on a bunt single just like that. Padres had the tying runs aboard. Manny Machado grounded out softly to third base. Tatis scored. Taylor went to second. Padres trailed 3-2. After a ground out sent Taylor to third, the Rangers went to lefty Tyler Alexander to face Jackson Merrill.
First pitch swinging, Merrill, grab ball right side, into right, and a base hit. Taylor will come in to tie the game. Jackson Merrill's third hit of the day has made it 3-3 here in the 8th.
So the Padres getting 2 to tie it. We went to extras, tied at 3. Manny Machado was at the plate with 2 men on base.
Manny swings, hits it in the air, deep to left center field. Freeman's going back. He turns to watch. This one, gonna go! Manny Machado, a 3-run go-ahead homer in the 10th. And the Padres are back ahead. It's 6-3.
Mason Miller would allow an unearned run in the bottom half of the inning, but Miller would shut the door in the 10th.
0-2 to Nimmo. Here's the pitch. Nimmo takes strike 3 call. Beautiful slider. He's going to use an ABS challenge because why not? But Mason Miller froze him. This will not be overturned And Mason's 20th save of the year comes in the 10th inning here in Texas. Manny Machado, 5 RBIs, and his 3-run homer in the 10th is the difference here today.
Padres getting a really, really nice win, 6-4 the final in 10, evening up this 3-game series at a game apiece. As we get ready for the rubber match of this 3-game set, let's go out to the Lone Star State.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Jesse, it's been a nice offensive series for the Padres so far. 7 runs Friday, 6 runs yesterday. I think it's interesting. They got it done in different ways. Friday night, offensively, really about the quote-unquote other guys, not the superstars in the lineup that have, of course, been so good for this team throughout the year. Yesterday, though, it was about Manny Machado. It was about Jackson Merrill, those guys coming up with big-time hits. Your thoughts on the Padres' offense so far in this series?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's going to have to be like over the course of the season, right? You don't want it to be the same guys every single day, and so nice to kind of see it split up like that in the first 2 games here. Ty France going crazy Friday, Manny going crazy yesterday. And, that's kind of how it goes and how it has to go. You can never lean too hard on any one guy or any one group of guys over the course of the long season. And, there's been a lot of leaning this year. That's the reality for the Padres. It's been kind of a strange offensive season, as we have talked about very endlessly, all of us, really since the first couple of weeks when this thing has sort of turned into what it is. But, some signs perhaps that things are getting going. I know the first couple of games in St. Louis against Dustin May and Andre Palante did not see what we wanted to see offensively, but go to the third game against the Cardinals, 6 runs, 14 hits. You go to Friday night here in Texas, 7 runs, 10 hits. Yesterday, 6 runs, 9 hits. And so perhaps we're starting to see the offense really kind of hit its stride.
Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit more later, but you look at some of the individual numbers as well, and there are signs of the offense really starting to come around. Let's focus on this starting pitching matchup today. The Padres side of things, second time on this road trip, they'll use Wandy Peralta as an opener, followed by Lucas Giolito, who will be the bulk innings guy. Let's start with the Peralta part of it, Jesse. I feel like it's been maybe an undercovered story so far. Wandy Peralta has been terrific no matter what position he's been in this year.
No, he's been great, and we talk about the strength of the Padre bullpen, it seems like every night. And just sort of reflexively, I think, we talk about the back end. We talk about Mason Miller. We talk about Adrian Morejon. But the reality is, the strength of the thing is also the depth of the thing. Yeah. That's part of what makes it so good. And Wandy's been brilliant. He really has, whether it's been in this role, or whether it's been, kind of coming in and getting maybe 4 or 5 outs in a situation, or as a situational lefty, or as somebody who, frankly, can get right-handed hitters out as well. He's also pitching differently than the Wandy Peralta we've seen the last couple of years. He's doing it in a different way. And it's always fascinating to me when, you get a guy sort of at the stage of the career that Wandy is at, who's just kind of like, all right, let me try something different. He maybe didn't have the most successful year of his career last year, but he wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. He's, getting his ground balls, and he's got the changeup. But he's almost like a completely different pitcher this year, and as effective maybe to this point as he's been at any point in his career. It's been a great story.
With Lucas Giolito getting the bulk innings, it went pretty well in St. Louis. Jesse, your thoughts on the Padres going with this strategy once again for Giolito?
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, and I think with both Giolito and Canning, you're going to see it a few times now. You're going to have to see it a few times. As long as those guys are in the rotation, I think you keep doing this, at least a couple of more times to sort of get a sense of what it is. The Padres are not a team that have done this a ton over the last several years. I know I did it for Waldron last season a few times. But when we do see teams do it using an opener for a guy, it's usually because the guy has struggled early in games. And we've seen it work really well against the Padres, however many times in the last couple of years. And I think the reality is, for whatever reason, some guys, sort of are slow starters. And when they come in the second inning or the third inning, they can sort of shake that off. Mm-hmm. And it's a weird thing. It doesn't really make common sense. It doesn't necessarily make mathematical sense, but it works psychologically for a lot of guys. And so I think, again, for Giolito and Canning, you got to roll it out there a few times. See if you can find some consistent success with this.
Mm-hmm.
And if, in fact, you can, that would be a huge, huge boost to this rotation. I think it's very early, obviously, to judge whether we're going to call it a success or not, which is why I'd like to see it a couple of more times for both of these guys, and I expect that we will.
Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for Texas today after dealing with that the knee soreness that took him out yesterday, but he is back on the mound today for the Rangers. We'll talk plenty more about him coming up a little bit later. Jesse, as always, appreciate the time. Of course, happy Father's Day to you, and we'll talk to you and Bob Scanlon coming up around 11:25 a.m. here in San Diego on this Father's Day Sunday. Thanks so much.
You got it, Sammy.
All right, that is Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. First pitch is coming up at 11:35 a.m. We send things out to Jesse and Bob at 11:25 as the Padres go for a series win in Texas, and they also go for a winning road trip. This road trip is finally over, a 9-game trip that saw the Padres go to Baltimore and St. Louis and now Arlington, Texas. And look, we've talked about this a lot, and I don't mean to hammer the point home too much, but really starting tomorrow, the schedule up until the All-Star break gets really tough for two reasons. Number one, the Padres have one more off day until the All-Star break. That'll be Thursday of this coming week. Here's who they're playing until the All-Star break. 3 against Atlanta at home, 3 against the Dodgers at home, 3 against the Cubs on the road at Wrigley, 4 against the Dodgers in LA, 4 against the Diamondbacks at home, 3 against the Blue Jays at home. That is a tough schedule. You're facing a lot of good teams. The Dodgers for 7, the Braves for 3. Arizona's been good. The Cubs have been up and down. The Blue Jays almost won the World Series last year. It's a tough schedule until the All-Star break, and an opportunity today, not that one game makes or breaks the season, certainly, but an opportunity today to A, win a series against the sub-500 team, and B, make this a winning road trip and hopefully create a little bit of momentum as the Padres return home for the start of a 6-game homestand beginning tomorrow at Petco Park. When we come back, we'll take our first look at the Padres lineup today. We'll hear from Craig Stammen. A little bit later, hear from Will Wagner and much, much more. First pitch coming up at 11:35 a.m. at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Our pregame coverage continues after this. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 11:35 a.m. in Arlington, Texas, as the Padres go for a series win against the Rangers today. As always, our pregame coverage brought to you by EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. We'll give you a look at the Padres lineup today in a moment. We'll tell you who's hot, who's not. Take a look at some headlines from around the major leagues, our keys to today's game, a full breakdown of today's pitching situation for both teams, and we'll get to all of that coming up before we send things out to Jesse and Bob Scanlon at 11:25 a.m. So in just about 35 minutes. Well, the Padres got a really good win yesterday in Texas. They trailed 3-1 going to the eighth inning. They found a way to come through with two big runs in the eighth inning to tie it at 3, including Jackson Merrill, a game-tying RBI single, lefty on lefty in the top of the eighth inning. Then in the top of the 10th, it was Manny Machado, one of the biggest swings he's had all year, a 3-run home run to put the Padres ahead 6-3, and they go on to win by a final score of 6-4. Also should mention Walker Buehler, really good yesterday, 5 scoreless innings to begin his day. He'd give up back-to-back doubles in the 6th as the Rangers tied the game, but aside from that, Walker Buehler was fantastic yesterday. He continues to pitch really well. Day game after a night game, so no pregame media availability from Craig Stammen today. Let's revisit what Craig had to say after yesterday's 6-4 win in 10.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
It's like to have it like you drew it up, top of the order, the big guy up, the big moment, and he gets a home run.
Yeah, that's exactly how we draw it up. That's why he's sitting in the spots on the lap that he's normally hitting in.
I can cross that question off. What do you think that felt like for Manny, and then also for you guys that, big hit in a big moment?
Yeah, exactly. I think when he went on deck, I slapped him on the butt and said, do it like you've done it a million times, because he has done it a million times. And so we've come to expect Manny to do that every single time that he comes to the plate, and that's unrealistic. But, he's had the career he's had. He is the person that he has. He has the confidence in himself, that is undeniable, and that makes him believe in those situations he's the best man to play.
It's like to get Basher just before, because he keeps doing it, but you get 2 innings from Adrian after you already spent, Jason and you're missing Jeremiah, just to be able to count on that.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that he can, he could probably go 3-4 innings if he had to, but we just value him being able to pitch a little bit more often, and him being able to go 2 late in the game in a tie game like that against, the heart of their order, who's kind of been, an Achilles heel for us, yesterday and today. So just an amazing job by him. He was absolutely nails.
We've seen a lot of stops and starts this season for Jackson. You see anything tonight that could, maybe help him have a little more consistency going forward?
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot over the last week. If we look back, he's had a few good games, and then he has the one like, last night that makes us question if he's still feeling good or not. And I think, today hanging in there against a tough lefty starter, he did a great job and, came through with the big hit to tie the game, to give us a chance there in extra innings.
Walker's probably been your most consistent guy in terms of like giving you a chance to win lately. If you guys scored some runs, maybe he could go 6 innings or so.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you see out of him, kind of that has him being that guy?
Yeah, I think he just gets us off to a good start. He's been very good early in games, and allows us to get our offense going a little bit and give them a chance to score runs. But the other thing is he's just not he's not giving up very many hits. He's not walking anybody. He's getting ahead. He's just very efficient. He's pitching like a pitcher that knows what he's doing out there with a lot of confidence. And we know Walker doesn't lack confidence, and he's using that to the best of his abilities out there on the mound. It's fun to watch him pitch.
I know you've been running more, but Jackson seems to be like running. I know last year there was injuries and maybe some caution there, but like how important is that dynamic in this game?
Yeah, it is very important. I think it just adds another, layer to him being, an all-star type player and a guy that's, one of the best players in the league. I know he's not hitting right now and those numbers will come, but that adds an element that a lot of other guys don't have. And credit to all of our base running coaches, Bobby Henley, Dave Macias, Vinny Lopez, those guys, putting a plan in place for Jackson, talking to him in the offseason, say, hey, we're going to make this a big part of your game. Jackson buying into that and believing in the coaching, and then going out and executing during the season. It's been fun to watch him, add that element to his game and be a weapon for us on the base pass.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen after yesterday's 6-4 win in 10. We'll hear more from Craig on our post-game coverage coming up later on this afternoon as the Padres get ready to play the final game of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Rangers. Padres going for a series win after winning yesterday's game in extras. Let's take a look at the Padres lineup here today. Looks like this. Samad Taylor up in the leadoff spot playing right field. Fernando Tatis Jr. getting a day off today, his first day off in a while since May 3rd. Jackson Merrill in center field batting second today. Manny Machado at third base batting third. Gavin Sheets in left field batting cleanup. Will Wagner, the DH, batting fifth. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop batting sixth. Ty France at first base batting seventh. Sung Moon Song, the second baseman, batting eighth. And Rodolfo Duran is doing the catching and batting ninth, with again Wandy Peralta opening today's game. He'll be followed by Lucas Giolito as the bulk innings guy. We'll talk more about those two guys coming up a little bit later, but that's a look at how the Padres will line up today in this series and road trip finale. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
Let's begin with the hot category. Focus on Samad Taylor. Man, oh man, how good has Samad Taylor been? An 11-game hit streak. He's collected a hit in every single one of his starts so far as a Padre. By the way, the 11-game hit streak, the longest by any Padre this season. Samad in that 11-game span, batting .390 with a home run, a double, 8 RBIs, and 4 stolen bases. Jackson Merrill also in the hot category. He had 3 hits yesterday. Jackson now has multi-hit games in 5 of his last 10 games. Fernando Tatis Jr., he's in the hot category as well. Despite getting the day off today, he's batting .363 in his last 24 games. And the not category, well, we focus on Xander Bogaerts, who is 3 for 22 in his last 7 games. 3 hits have all been at singles. And that is a quick look at who's hot, who's not as we get ready for this series finale. Let's take a look at some Major League headlines as we go around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Just a few quick headlines for you. One from last night's game. The Phillies beating up on the Mets 15-3 in Philadelphia. Bryce Harper hit his first career cycle in that game. Kyle Schwarber hit 3 home runs in that game. So think about that. How many times, including Schwarber hitting 2 in the same inning. They had a big 8-run inning in that win yesterday in Philly. Not often you see a guy having a cycle and a 3 home run game in the same contest, but that's what we had yesterday with Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. The Yankees have activated one of their catchers, Austin Wells, from the 10-day IL after he missed 2 weeks because of cervical headaches, but he is active for today's game. Michael Soroka, the latest Diamondback starter to hit the injured list, he has a strained right glute. Arizona also putting Jordan Lawler back on the IL with a strained right hamstring. That's a team in Arizona dealing with a lot of pitching injuries. Ryan Nelson dealing with a sprained UCL. Corbin Burns, who had Tommy John surgery last year, he has suffered a setback in rehab. So, look, that's one of the teams certainly the Padres are battling with right now for a wild card spot. So something to keep in mind. And as we said, Mike Soroka, the latest guy to hit the IL for the Diamondbacks. That's about all the news we have for you on this Sunday, on this Father's Day. But we will have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit. When we come back, we'll also hear from today's designated hitter. That's Will Wagner. We'll have our keys to today's game, a full breakdown of today's pitching matchup. Wandy Peralta opening the game for the Padres today. Lucas Giolito is the bulk innings guy. We'll talk plenty more about those two guys coming up when we return. First pitch coming up at 11:35 in Texas, right here on the Padres Radio Network. Padres baseball coming up here on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch is coming up at 11:35 a.m. in Arlington, Texas. We send things out to Jesse Agler and Bob Scanlon in just about 20 minutes. Padres wrapping up this 3-game series against the Rangers and also this long 9-game road trip. Padres have an opportunity to make it a winning trip with a win here today. Still a lot to do. We'll hear from today's DH, Will Wagner, in just a little bit. Padres did have some good injury news earlier today. Let's get to it.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, before we get to the Padres side of things, of course, Nathan Eovaldi was supposed to start yesterday's game. He was scratched with a little knee soreness. So instead, as you know, Mackenzie Gore, who was scheduled to originally start today, pitched yesterday. Eovaldi throwing today. So do keep that in mind during Nate Eovaldi's start today. Will he be affected by whatever was going on with his knee? Keep an eye on that. As far as the Padres, they did reinstate Miguel Andujar from the 10-day IL earlier today. He had been dealing with the hamstring issue. It sounded like he was starting to really ramp up activity the last couple of days. So Andujar available off the bench today for the Padres. The Padres' corresponding move was designating Nick Solak for assignment. So we'll see what happens there if Solak ends up staying in the organization or not. Remember, they just DFA'd Bryce Johnson not all that long ago. He cleared waivers and ended up getting assigned to AAA El Paso. So we'll see if the same thing happens with Solak, but they did need to DFA Nick Solak to make room for Andujar. So good news there. Miguel Andujar, who certainly at times this season has been a real important part of this offense. He is back from the IL, and he will be available off the bench here today. That's a quick look at our injury report on it this Sunday. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a handful of games going on right now. Reds and the Yankees in New York. They are scoreless in the second. Brewers lead the Braves 8-1 in Atlanta in the second. The White Sox, actually I had to read that again. Wow, Brewers have 8 runs by the top of the second inning. Wow, only 2 outs in that second inning, too. Brewers leading the Braves 8-1 in Atlanta in the second. White Sox and the Tigers in the third in Detroit. They're scoreless there. Marlins and the Giants 1-0. The Marlins on top in the second in Miami. Marlins are playing really well, above 500 entering the day. Nationals and the Rays in Tampa Bay. They are scoreless in the third. Everything else is coming up later. Guardians and the Astros in Houston at 11:10. Cardinals and the Royals at 11:10 in Kansas City. Dustin May and Stephen Kolek, the pitching matchup there. Pirates and the Rockies in Colorado at 12:10. Twins in Arizona against the Diamondbacks at 12:15. Angels and the A's in Sacramento at 1:05. Orioles and the Dodgers in LA at 1:10. The Red Sox and the Mariners in Seattle at 1:10. Mets and the Phillies later on today in Philadelphia at 4:20. And there was a postponement today. Blue Jays and the Cubs at Wrigley, they were rained out, and they will make that game up in early August at Wrigley Field. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday. We'll have much more on all those games for you coming up a little bit later during our post-game coverage later on this afternoon. Well, Will Wagner has done a nice job with his opportunity, getting a lot of at-bats with the Padres. He's DHing today and batting fifth. You look at what Wagner has done so far since getting called up from AAA. He's batting .318 in a grand total of 22 at-bats, but he is 7 for 22. He is a double, 3 runs scored. He's done a pretty nice job collecting hits when he's been given at-bats so far. Of course, and you may know this, you may not, Will Wagner is the son of Hall of Famer Billy Wagner, the left-handed closer, had an amazing career, inducted into the Hall of Fame, a 7-time All-Star. So Will is the son of Billy Wagner, which seems appropriate to have Will on the pregame coverage today here on Father's Day. Will Wagner caught up with Padres Spanish language radio broadcaster Pedro Gutierrez inside the Padres clubhouse.
Well, it's been a pretty good run for you personally, this opportunity with the Padres in 2026. Just share a little bit about how you've been feeling at the plate and giving good at-bats.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel like I'm seeing the ball well, working the count, and just trying to get on base for guys behind me. Been working a lot on my swing and just pregame with all the hitting coaching and stuff, trying to stay on top of it, but it feels pretty good right now.
We see a little bit of the versatility that you bring, third base, DH, second base. Just share a little bit about the bouncing around part of the modern need of baseball, whereas that the more flexible player is, the more valuable he is.
Yeah, I love it. In AAA, I was playing everywhere too. I actually play a little outfield too. So I think just being able to play every position you can is good for you, and just trying to be on the field as much as possible.
In terms of being a young player, it's not that common to get traded a couple of times. You've been in a couple of organizations now, but you've been able to have that experience now in the majors, trying to break through. Just share a little bit about the growth you've had, your first cup of coffee, the majors, hitting over 300, 2024 with the Blue Jays, and this trade now with the Padres, also know with this opportunity.
Yeah, when I first got called up, I had some success right away. It was 24, and then in 25, I kind of had like an up and down year. I felt like failure a little bit a couple times, so I got optioned and then got called back up and optioned again a couple times. But I think I just learned from it and just trying to be positive. So like this year when I came up here, I was just trying to stay as calm as possible and just think of it as the same thing as AAA. It's the same game, just more fans and stuff. But yeah, just trying to take advantage of my opportunity here.
In terms of not trying to get too personal, but your father, Hall of Famer, how cool is it to have somebody who's been there, done that in baseball, just a phone call away? Because you just said the ups and downs of baseball as part of it. How good is it for you to just have that resource at your disposal?
Yeah, he's just always in my corner. Actually, on our off day, I had a tough series in St. Louis, and I just called him and just see what he thought. And we never really talk too much about my swing. It's more about how my headspace is and just trying to calm down and have a good approach. And I'm just lucky to always have him in my corner.
And finally, this season with the Padres, a little bit of up and down, team playing over 500 as you've tried to look to be in contention throughout this summer. Just in general, how do you view this team and what you can do moving forward the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think this team's really good. I think we're capable of a lot more. I know we're going up and down right now, but we've run into some tough pitchers right now. I think we're still putting up good at-bats, kind of unlucky here and there, but I think we're headed in the right direction still. I think we're battling.
That was Will Wagner's today's designated hitter for the Padres. Will doing a nice job. Really good stuff there in that pregame conversation. And we'll see how Will contributes today in the final game of this 3-game series. First pitch coming up at 11:35 a.m. in Arlington, Texas. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
Key number 1, continue to beat up on Rangers pitching. Padres scored 7 runs on Friday, 6 runs yesterday. The Rangers pitching staff has allowed 7.25 runs per game in the last 8 games. Rangers are 2-6 in that stretch, so their pitching has not been good lately. Can the Padres continue to beat up on Rangers pitching? That's key number 1. Key number 2, Lucas Giolito holding his own against lefties. He'll face some lefties today in that Ranger lineup. Lefties are hitting .347 against Giolito on the year. That has been a problem for Lucas this year. So when he comes in as the bulk innings guy, keep an eye on his matchup against left-handed batters. Key number 3, more Manny. Manny Machado drove in 5 of the Padres' 6 runs yesterday. We asked the question, could Machado be starting to turn things around a little bit? He's slugging .537 with 2 home runs and 9 RBIs in his last 10 games. He had that big day yesterday, the big home run in the 10th inning. More Manny, more of that. That's key number 3. Key number 4, limit Langford and Berger. The Rangers' Wyatt Langford is hitting .424 with 3 home runs, 8 RBIs in his last 8 games. Jake Berger is hitting .366 with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs in his last 12 games. Langford leading off today for Texas. Berger batting cleanup. We saw Langford hit a home run on Friday. We saw Berger hit a home run on Saturday. So limit Langford and Berger. That's key number 4, and that's a look at our keys to today's game. When we come back, we tell you about today's pitching situation for both these teams. We also tell you about one element to watch in this game in particular, something to keep in mind as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 11:35 a.m. Padres going for a series win in Texas on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 11:35 a.m. in Arlington, Texas, as the Padres wrap up this 3-game series against the Rangers and wrap up this long 9-game road trip. Of course, today is a Military Sunday, and it's brought to you by our San Diego County Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Today, also Father's Day. I was just joking with Kyle Ovenshire, our great studio coordinator, during the commercial break. I said, well, it would only be right for the Padres, the dads, to win on Father's Day, right? So hopefully the Padres can pick up a series win here today. And of course, a very happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, no matter where or how you're listening to today's pregame coverage. Let's tell you what to watch for in this series finale.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
What to watch for in today's game? How did the Padres navigate their bullpen today? Couple of complicating elements. Number one, you're going to use Wandy Peralta in the first inning. So he's crossed off your reliever list, which makes it pretty important that Lucas Giolito, at the very least, eats up some innings in his bulk innings role. We'll talk more about Giolito in a second. But also, Padres could be without a couple of key relievers today. Here's why. Jason Adam has pitched in 2 straight games. He's also given up a home run in 2 straight games, but he's thrown 39 pitches total. He's pitched in 2 straight games. I'd imagine the Padres would want to stay away from Adam today. Also, Adrian Morejon threw 2 innings yesterday and 35 pitches. I would imagine, if possible, they want to stay away from Morejon. So there is a world where you could be without Adam and Morejon today. You've got Peralta pitching in the opener role. How do the Padres navigate their bullpen in this one with a few of those complicating factors? Again, you don't know for sure if Adam's unavailable, if Morejon's unavailable, but considering the workload, you think there's a chance. So that's something to keep in mind as this game rolls along and gets later and later. Let's dive into today's starting pitching matchup. Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for the Rangers and Wandy Peralta opening up for the Pods.
Let's break down how today's starters are shaping up with our starting pitching preview. Brought to you by Harrah's Resort Southern California and the First Down Sports Bar in Funner, California. Don't just watch the match, experience the glory. Head to Funner for every World Cup match to enjoy stadium-level energy and amazing specials at the best sports bar in SoCal.
Right-hander Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for the Texas Rangers. Now 36 years old, and certainly Eovaldi at times in his career has been really, really, really good. 6-7 this year, a 4.23 ERA in 14 starts, 87 innings and a third, 83 strikeouts, 21 walks. His last start in Boston against his former team, 7 innings, 3 earned runs given up, 6 hits. His last 8 starts, he is a 3.29 ERA. Now, something to keep in mind with Eovaldi is that he was scratched yesterday with knee soreness. Remember, that's why they flipped Mackenzie Gore and Eovaldi. Gore was originally scheduled to pitch today, so keep that in mind as Eovaldi takes the mound today. Does that knee soreness affect him at all in this start? Opening today's game for the Padres, left-hander Wandy Peralta. Second time in this road trip he served as an opener, pitched the scoreless inning in St. Louis in this role earlier on the trip. Wandy has not allowed a run this month, 8 consecutive scoreless appearances. And as I alluded to with Jesse earlier, this has been one of the more underrated stories of this season. Wandy Peralta has a 1.96 ERA in 31 appearances. He is quietly having a great year, and he already did this, pitched the scoreless inning as an opener earlier on the road trip. Right-hander Lucas Giolito. He's scheduled to get bulk innings today. His last outing as the bulk innings guy in St. Louis, he did well. 5 innings, 3 runs, 7 hits, 3 walks. Overall, a 4.56 ERA in 6 outings as a Padre. And for Giolito, it comes down to limiting walks. Walks have been a significant issue for him. 21 walks in 25 2/3 innings. He has got to cut down on those walks. We'll see if he can do it today. And that's a look at our pitching situation, I'll call it today. Padres going with the opener. Wandy Peralta on the mound. Lucas Giolito to follow. And Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for the Texas Rangers. As always, we appreciate you listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Well, the Padres finally return home tomorrow, but first, the final game of this 9-game road trip. Padres an opportunity to make it a winning road trip with a win today. When we come back, we send things out to Jesse Agler, Bob Scanlon. They're standing by at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network.